Stop scrolling for a second. I want to tell you about someone you probably know. Maybe it's your coworker. Maybe it's your uncle. Maybe, if you're being honest, it's you. This person has a solid savings account, not just a little bit of money. We're talking real, disciplined, decades of sacrifice kind of savings. And yet, they're still driving a 2009 Honda Civic with a cracked bumper, still packing lunch, still using the same Netflix password they set up in 2018. But here's the part that breaks your brain. Last weekend, they dropped $700 on concert tickets without blinking. Who is this person? They're Generation X, born between 1965 and 1980, sandwiched quietly between the loudest generations on Earth. And nobody, and I mean nobody, is talking about how completely fascinating their relationship with money actually is. Because it isn't random, it isn't contradictory, and it isn't old-fashioned. It's the result of something that happened to them, something specific, something brutal, that rewired how their brains process every single financial decision they make. And once I show you what that thing was, you will never look at money the same way again. To understand Gen X and on D-money, you have to go back, way back. Picture a Saturday morning in 1979. A 10-year-old kid is riding shotgun in his dad's Oldsmobile. Dad's headed to the bank, the same branch, the same teller every single Saturday for the last 12 years. Same job, same company, same paycheck. The teller knows dad's name, knows the kids' names, asks about the Little League game. This kid watches his dad hand over a deposit slip, watches the numbers go up in the passbook, and somewhere in that 10-year-old brain, a belief gets formed. This is how the world works. You work hard. You stay loyal. The system rewards you. That belief felt like gravity, like physics, like something that simply could not be argued with. Fast forward 20 years. That same kid is now 30 years old, sitting at a kitchen table in 2001, staring at a 401k statement that looks like it got run over by a truck. The dot-com bubble just exploded. Half his coworkers got laid off in a single afternoon. His company, the one he gave 6 years to, sent everyone home with a box and a form letter. No warning, no loyalty returned, just gone. And that belief he built at 10 years old, shattered, not bent, not created, shattered. That moment, that specific, generational betrayal, is the foundation of everything strange and brilliant about how Gen X handles money today. Here's the first thing that confuses everyone about Gen X finances. They are absolutely terrified about retirement. Like, genuinely anxious, can't sleep at 3 a.m. terrified, and at the same time, they consistently contribute more to their retirement accounts than almost any other generation. That sounds insane, right? Why would you keep pouring money into something you don't believe will save you? Psychologists actually have a name for this. They call it defensive pessimism. Here's how it works. You assume genuinely, deeply assume that everything is going to go wrong, and because you believe that, you prepare for it obsessively. You don't save because you're optimistic. You save because you're scared. Gen X doesn't save for a comfortable future. They save for a disaster that hasn't happened yet. And before you laugh at that, consider this. They watched their parents' pensions get quietly dissolved by corporate restructuring. They graduated into a job market that was already pulling the rug out. They bought their first home. Mess right before 2008, turned housing into a nightmare. They're not paranoid. They're pattern recognition machines. And the pattern kept repeating. The system promises security. The system takes it back. Have a nice day. So they built their own version of security, one that nobody could take away in a quarterly earnings call. You know what's funny? Millennials get all the credit for inventing the side hustle, the think pieces, the podcast episodes, the Instagram reels about passive income and building your brand and escaping the 9-to-5. But Gen X was doing all of this 20 years earlier. They just never gave it a cute name. Federal Reserve data shows Gen X has higher rates of self-employment and secondary income than any generation before them, and most after. The difference is why they did it. Millennials built side hustles to follow their passion, to build something, to be their own boss. Gen X built side hustles because they watched their mom's coworker get escorted out of the building by security after 22 years of service. No warning, no goodbye party, just a box of desk items and a handshake from HR. That image burned itself into an entire generation. So the rental property isn't ambition, it's an escape hatch. The freelance consulting work isn't entrepreneurial spirit, it's insurance. The Etsy store, the weekend gig, The investment account, it's not about grinding. It's about never, ever being completely dependent on one entity that can fire you on a Tuesday afternoon. That is not pessimism. That is the most rational financial strategy a human being can build after watching the floor disappear enough times. Here's where Gen X money psychology gets genuinely strange. They will quit a Fortune 500 company via a 2-line email. Zero guilt, zero ceremony. But they will drive across town past 4 other coffee shops to get to the one where the owner remembers their order. They have no loyalty to institutions, and almost irrational loyalty to brands and people they trust. Marketing researchers have been losing their minds over this for years. Studies consistently show Gen X sticks with brands from their youth at dramatically higher rates than younger generations. Same jeans, same music, same products they discovered in 1991, and at the fur. That seems nostalgic, right? Maybe even a little sad. But look closer. Those brands didn't lie to them. Corporations promised stability and delivered layoffs. Governments promised pensions and changed the rules. Institutions promised that loyalty would be returned. But their favorite band from 1993, still playing, still delivering. That coffee shop owner never once handed them a severance package and wished them luck. Gen X doesn't hate loyalty. They just learned, at enormous personal cost, exactly where loyalty is worth giving. Remember those $700 concert tickets? Here's why that makes complete, logical sense. After 2008, Gen X watched people lose everything. Houses that were supposed to be assets became liabilities overnight. Cars lost value the moment you drove them off the lot. Possessions were just things waiting to be repossessed. So Gen X made a quiet, subconscious calculation. If things can be taken, then buy what can't be. You cannot foreclose on a memory. A market crash cannot erase the road trip you took in 2019. No bankruptcy court in the world can reclaim the feeling of being in the front row at a show you waited 30 years to see. Research consistently shows Gen X outspends every other generation on live events, travel, and experiences in actual dollar terms. Not as a percentage in raw dollars. They're not being irresponsible. They figured out before anyone was writing Medium posts about it, that in an economy that can flip upside down without warning, the highest return investment you can make is one that exists only in your memory. Nobody can take that from you. So here's the real picture of Gen X and money. They save obsessively, but they don't trust it. They build multiple income streams, but they keep the day job. They spend lavishly on experiences, but they coupon at the grocery store. They research everything themselves, but they're still anxious they're getting it wrong. They carry strategic debt, but they refuse credit card balances. And yes, they still have paper records in a fireproof safe, even though they also built the internet. None of that is contradictory. All of it is adaptive. This is a generation that learned, over and over again, that the rules can change with. Though notice that loyalty doesn't flow both ways. That the safest thing you can own is something no economic system can repossess. That kid in the 1979 bank, watching his dad deposit a paycheck into a world that made sense, grew up into someone who never forgot what it felt like when that world stopped making sense. And they built their entire financial life around making sure they'd still be standing when it happened again. Because they know it will. It always does. If something in this video made you think about your own money habits, drop it in the comments. I'd genuinely love to read it. And if you want more videos that go this deep into the psychology behind how we make decisions, you know where the subscribe button is.